Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Taste Challenge. I got delayed, couldn't help it. But anyway, we have two tequilas from NOM Distillery 1143. I was talking to Buffalo Trace yesterday after I did the two golds. Here's El Toro Silver, introduced in 1959. Tijuana Silver, introduced in 1966. Always owned by Sazerac. This one was some small company, then Barton bought it, and now Sazerac has it. They're both bottled in Kentucky. This was bottled in Louisville. This is bottled in Frankfort at Buffalo Trace. So I was on the phone with them at Buffalo Trace, and I was saying he didn't really know about the brand. He said, I'm really more of their bourbon guy. He said, but I'm going to talk to the tequila people and get the information for you, because I said, well, make sure it's the right one. So I said, well, there's no NOM number. That's a certification number for Mexico. I said, and it doesn't say anywhere on there made in Mexico. I said, so is it U.S. produced tequila? He said, well, they're really strict in Mexico about, and he was telling me about their distillery that they have a contract with down there. I said, Gonzalez, right? He said, well, he gave me a different name with an M, but he said Gonzalez. He said that distillery is like Sazerac, they use all these alias names. He said, right here, Buffalo Trace, we got like 50 different names on the bottles. I said, right. He said they're called like, I said, you mean like an alias name? He said, right. So he thought it was very strange. And I said, it says tequila, but how do we know? Well, so he said, I'm going to get them and they're going to call you back. I said, well, how about I give you an email? You don't have to worry about calling me. Okay. So I sent him he said, just send me the email and then I'll have your address. So I did that. And so they're going to get back with me and explain why it doesn't say NOM number or made in Mexico for the Tijuana Gold. But the Tijuana Silver clearly has that. Got the NOM there. It says product of Mexico there on the flag below the little chicken looking emblem. And a distillate from the agave plant, a variety of the maguey. But it didn't say any of that on the gold, which is very strange. Okay, so anyway, those little mysteries fascinate me, perplex me, and in a way irritate me. But we'll see what they say. Probably take a few days. The price. It was $8.29 for the Tijuana. These are both liter bottles, and it was $7.99 for the El Toro. El Toro I purchased at Savannah discount. Tijuana at Discount Depot. Maybe Savannah has better prices, but they fluctuate. Like you got to go to both because one place will have it this price and it goes back and forth. So I always just go by both places because you never know what little crazy things you're going to find. And it's usually something very interesting like these two. I'm going to try to pass by Winn-Dixie next week and see what that weird brand is they have. But it's overpriced. So I'm not going to buy it. I'm just curious to see what it is. All right, here we go. These are going to be so close, I think. Sunday Burn says, good morning, Ron. I've been watching your reviews on your channel for years. I never thought you'd ever review tequilas, but here we are. People kept asking me about it for years. And I told people I never tried tequila in my life. And they say, you lie. I told them I'm not lying. I've never tried it. I'm not opposed to it, or I have no special like hostility towards it. I just didn't want to try it because I knew I'd be, there we go, trying everything. But that's all right. I'm in no rush, so what difference does it make? Here we go. These are going to be very similar, but I think, I don't know, no, but I think that El Toro is going to have a little bit more rich character, because I noticed that Tijuana Gold was very bland, wasn't bad, didn't have any off aromas or flavors, wasn't, offensive. It just was very dull. Kind of at the best score you'd give it be like a B minus, 80, because it was kind of nice in the taste. It just was so faint of a taste. You see, it could be nice, but faint. I don't know how to describe it. People say I score too high. I don't think I score too high. I don't think I do. Because I'm really not giving normative scores, which is like, how is it relative to everything else? No, I'm saying, how is it relative to itself? You know what I'm saying? How does the product score on its own merits? Which some people can't understand that. They can't. They just say, no, you have to relate it to everything else. I said, no, I don't have to. I could score it on its own existence. Good morning, Ron. This is going to be a battle today. Can't wait to see what happens, says FD. Yeah, I can't go too long, though, because I got delayed. I want to see the news, but we'll do it right now. Here we go. This one's sweet in the nose. So these things use a lot of sugar. Now, of course, they use agave cactus juice, pulp, the heart of it. Okay, well, you can go to the grocery store and buy agave nectar sweetener, like a sugar substitute. And they have to be at least 51% blue agave product, but the other 49% can be any other kind of thing, like cane syrup or something, filler, what you call adjuncts filler. That's a legal thing. So if somebody tells you that's not a true tequila, they're wrong. They're wrong. It's just a type of tequila. Now, it may not be truly great or truly desirable, but it's true. It's like somebody telling you, well, Miller High Life's not real beer because they use corn products as an adjunct. Well, that's just totally wrong. It's not, well, that's your opinion that it's wrong. No, it's like literally wrong. It's objectively wrong. Now, whether you think it's a good or bad beer, that's the subjective part. That's up to you. Whether I think these are good or bad tequilas, up to me, but they are literally tequila. I had a guy I used to hang around with on Facebook and telling me that Seagram's VO Gold was not a true whiskey. I said, oh, yeah? All right. This is sweet. It's peppery. It's got that roasted bell pepper flavor thing. You know what I'm saying? It's hard, and I think I'm going to stop doing this, trying to tell people what tequila tastes like. But they got to go try it themselves, right? Like if you watch the videos, common sense, you're going to go try it and not have me to try to describe it to you. It's like trying to describe colors to a blind person, Morning, Jay. Those are both hangover-inducing products. Mezcals from Oaxaca traditionally. Yes, that's right. I prefer the much more artisanal cousin of tequila and more smoky called mezcal, an interesting product worth every dollar. Yes, I already have done a solo review of a mezcal, and that's coming into play too, but we just got to wait. Okay, so this one is the sweet and the agave thing, the little twangy thing, but it's less of it. The nose is more muted, so I think this is the Tijuana. Switching it like mouthwash, I wouldn't do that before you go to work. Well, let me say that this is more peppery though. Less agave, but more pepper. Well, they're not adding pepper to it, so maybe it is more agave, but from a backhand way. All right, look, you're paying $7.99 a liter and $8.29 a liter. Common sense will tell you these are not top shelf, gourmet, exquisite tequilas. And it's funny that people will they'll tell me this. I'll say, hey, look what I bought. Oh, that's not really a great tequila. And I'm always fascinated by that. I'm like, why are you telling me things I know already? It's like, I knew it wasn't when I paid $7.99 a liter. I mean, I know that the $1,899 Jose Cuervo at Total Wine is probably a lot better because it's $1,800 and this is $7.99. I never do that. Like if somebody shows me, oh look, here is $1 hamburger from McDonald's. It's on their value menu. I don't point that out to them. Oh, well, you know, that's not a top quality hamburger. I don't tell them that because it's apparent. It's like telling somebody the sun is in the sky. I want to see this against an overpriced Patron tequila. It's going to happen probably 100. All right, let's close this out because that's all right. We just can't go long all the time. I'm sorry, but 100% agave is what they're talking about. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of fanaticism in the beer, wine, and liquor communities. It's hard to work around it, you know. A lot of posturing, positioning, and all of that. These are very similar. There's nothing bad or off-putting about either one. So let's get that straight. This one is not, oh, it's terrible. It tastes like airplane glue. It tastes like pencil sharpening, shavings. You know, like people say this stuff about some whiskeys. I'm like, nah, it doesn't taste like any of that. It just might be bland or kind of funky, but these things people say. Or they'll say these two taste like rubbing alcohol. They don't taste like any of that. They have a mild agave nectar sweetness, a mild pepperiness. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, for all intents and purposes, in a practical sense, they're the same. All right, they're the same. So which one would I buy? The Tijuana for $8.29 or the El Toro for $7.99? Common sense, I'd save 30 cents and buy the El Toro. Plus, it has a little prettier label, in my opinion, a nicer label. But they're okay. Now, they've been on the market since 1959, El Toro, and 1966, Tijuana. You think they've been on the market that long because everybody hates it? Think about that for a minute. People buy it and they say, oh, it's horrible. I'm going to buy some more. No, I'm pretty sure they don't say that. Are these massively popular? No, they're not even, they're barely marginally popular. But they have a following. You say, oh, wow, that's just what bar rooms use, you know, to make cocktails. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, fine. That's almost certainly the case. And I still don't know why that's a problem, like why that is a problem, you know. Do some people buy it and take it to their house and make their own drinks? Yes, of course. So I'm going to say, and I'm not too confident, I've only had them once before each. I think that's the El Toro because it has a little bitty, tiny, itsy bitsy bit better flavor, or let's say bolder flavor. But it's not enough to really worry about. Oh, well, guess what? It's the Tijuana. Well, so there you go. Not only were they close, I couldn't even tell them apart. And so would I recommend them? Yes, I would. At a low price, you understand? I mean, I saw somebody doing a review saying, I only paid $11.99 for the El Toro liter. I say $11.99? I don't think I'd have bought it. But for $7.99, oh yeah, it's a real winner. I mean, that's people from Canada or Australia watch these videos and they're like appalled. They say, those things cost $30 where I live. And I say, oh, that's to pay for all your free services, you know. They passed a $1.9 trillion stimulus bill in the House, so they can. Okay, let's see what they're saying. 100% agave is what they're talking about, so they can charge $50 a bottle and say it's 100% pure agave. Jose Cuervo Tradicional is very good and affordable, but the company makes cheap tequila as well, the best stuff. Right. They cover all the bases. They make the mass consumption tequila, Jose, the Cuervo Gold, that, of course, but they also make like super deluxe gourmet tequila that most people can't afford, $1,800 a bottle. So Jose Cuervo is an easy target. People like to attack them because they're the big guy and they take shots at them. I think a lot of that's done to like build credibility on the internet, say, yeah. And so people will say, you know, they're thinking, yeah, I'm going to attack Jose Cuervo so I can look like a really cool guy, you know, in the tequila world, you know, I'm doing videos. I was drinking some El Minuscule craft tequila. They only make 18 bottles a year. And I was talking to the distillery master and but actually they might have just sent him an email, you know, but they're somebody, you know, that kind of stuff that I see all the time that it just, I think, oh, I don't think me and that guy would get along too well. It's not because he would make me angry. It's just that I would make him angry because I'm not over here trying to position myself and, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never started this channel for that. Somebody was telling me the other day, well, you don't have a lot of subs because of whatever. I said, whoever said I cared about that? I don't care about that. I was glad when I had 15 subscribers. 15, I was excited. So everything else is bonus. It's like at the casino, I'm playing with house money now. So it's nice to be free of that because you could just say what you want. You don't have to say, oh, what are they going to think? You know, you just do it. But these are both very nice. Once again, we have to understand these things within a certain context. When I say very nice, I mean very nice at the level at which they're being addressed, right? Very nice in the context of $7.99 a liter. But still just quantifiably very nice. Like, it's just nice. They're nice. They're nice. I like them. Okay. I don't know how else. I'm not going to try to keep framing this. I'm not going to try to keep framing it and try to establish some contextual, an analytical viewpoint of it. I'm just saying they're nice. I don't know. You know, what do I know for tequila? Tough one today, Ron. Yeah, I can't picture you getting into fights with anyone, Ron. You're such a nice guy. Don't worry. I've gotten, you never cared about subs. I know you do it for fun and for educational reasons. So Sunday break. I've gotten into conflicts with a number of people who I will not name, although I could. But you don't need me to name them, because if you just cruise around Facebook long enough, you'll realize who they are. Just, well, I could tell right off the bat. And people invited me to all these groups, these social media groups. I never really wanted to be in the groups, honestly, but they say, oh, join. It's great. It's great. Havana's great. I say, okay. And then it didn't take long. I could say, uh-oh. You know, you could just tell that certain people, they got this axe to grind, you know, they got this, sort of hostility thing going. You know, the kind of people, they're just looking for trouble. You know what I'm talking about. Looking for an incident, so to speak. And I'm thinking, I don't need any of that. You know, I don't really want to be part of that. And then they'll be back and forth with each other, like, you're the best. You know, they're like praising each other for their awesome bad attitude or whatever they're doing. And I say, oh. And you just know what it's going to lead to. So you say to yourself, well, I know if I make a comment about particular products, they're going to flip out and go crazy. And I'm not doing it as like a instigatory thing. It's just like, you invited me to the group, so you would assume people could speak their mind without any kind of hostile intent or provocative intent, provocative intent. But I just waited, you know, and then here it comes, you know. They're like the Beastie Boys said, they're Buddy Rich when they fly off the handle. And you just know it's coming. So I don't really like to interact with that kind of stuff too much. That's why I started my own groups, which I thought would be a good thing, like Alcohol Legs, the beer, wine, and liquor group, and Rock and Roll Club, the music group. Because it's not an axe to grind group. There's no great goal. There's what you say, what is the goal of Alcohol Legs? Well, there is no goal. You know, what are you trying to achieve? Nothing. You know, I'm not trying to achieve anything. You know, what is this leading to? What does it all mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's just a group where you could look at beer, wine, and liquor and say, well, here's what I'm drinking. Here's what I think about it. And the hostile people that join, they don't last. They don't stay because no one is taking the bait, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You could tell they're throwing out bait, but people don't bite. So they move on, quit, you know, go to some other group where they can make a flashpoint post and get everybody wound up. And, you know, you get the political people and all of that. But people still don't take the bait. So they move on. They go away. It's great, really. Rock and Roll Club, same thing. There's one guy, he tries to plant bait about like he'll make a song post, like he'll post a song. But it isn't really about the song. It's really, he's trying to like push a certain political angle, left-wing angle. You say, oh, well, I wouldn't care if it was right wing or left wing. It doesn't matter either way because they're trying to promote an agenda. And I'll sort of act like I don't know what he means. I'm like, well, you know, and I'll make some comments. I mean, I know exactly what he means. And but he doesn't go crazy. He just moves on to another song, and nobody else cares about they'll just talk about the song. Well, yeah, I heard that song before. It's okay. But it's interesting how people do that. All right, so anyway, I'll watch the news at the bottom of the hour. I was up against a tight thing, and I don't like to do that rush. Anyway, the news is at 6 and then 6:30 and all that. All right, so a great taste challenge, in my opinion. I didn't get it right, but that doesn't matter, and it doesn't even mean anything because I took 2 tequilas, which I have virtually no experience with, and I don't even have any experience with tequila anyway, right? So, which are almost the exact same price, same company, same distillery. You say, oh, it's the same stuff in 2 different bottles. I don't believe that. They don't taste the same. They taste very similar. They have different origins. You know, they started at different timelines with different companies, but now they're under the same umbrella. But the interesting thing about this was that I did get to experience the flavors, and you learn and you get experience by getting experience. So you're just working through it. It's like a progression. So later, when we come back around the mountain, he'll be coming around the mountain back. You know, later on, then we do the Montezuma Gold and the Montezuma Silver. Now, Montezuma's a little bit more expensive. I mean, you know, a little bit. Because you got to pay about $2 more and you only get a 750. You're not getting a whole liter. So that right there is telling you it's a little bit more expensive. That'll be interesting. I don't think it's going to be a great difference. I don't think the Montezuma is going to really stand out, but that's the curious thing. Will it? And then we'll go in with the Sal's, maybe Margaritaville, tequila, but that's just Sazerac produced for Jimmy Buffett. But maybe, of course, Jose Cuervo Gold and Silver, you know, the mixtos, and probably Hornitos. And well, I mean, there's so many mixtos. You could spend your whole life just doing mixtos without ever getting to the 100% agave. But I intend to do those. What about, you say, what about añejos and extra añejos? Well, yeah, and the rested ones, the slightly aged ones. Well, yeah, I would like to do all of those. But if I live 1,000 years, I could do it. But I won't, so I'm not going to. But anyway, that's closing out this little short tequila adventure after 2 videos, because I only had 4 brands after all. But have no fear. We have some other exciting things coming up if anybody wants to know what's coming up next, because it's going to be really exciting, I think. Great job today, Ron. It was fun. Thank you. Debates are fine and can be fun, but people do take it too far. Yeah, they go berserk. You see, then they launch ad hominem attacks. It's not, well, let's talk about the merits or the demerits of your policy position. And I attack the motives of left wing and right wing people, because it's like, I tell them, you can't discuss the topic at hand. You can only make fun of people. You say, oh, well, Nancy Pelosi, blah, blah, blah. I would trip her if I saw her walking past me. I'll say, well, I can't talk to you because I don't debate that way. I only want to talk about the merits of the policy point, not personal. And then they'll do it personally. You say, well, they don't have the intelligence to debate policy positions only. They have to make personal attacks because they don't have the intelligent quotient to be able to handle the concepts. That's probably true. Great job today. It was fun. You still watch fake news, though, maybe by habit? No, I don't watch fake news by habit. I watch fake news because it's easier to do that. In other words, I watch people say, where do you get your news from? I get it from CBS News Radio. And that's easy to do because if they say this guy's bad, I know he's good, or that country's bad. That country's bad. You could assume that the country's good. And that just, so all you got to do is flip it around. Salsa. And they'll say, well, this country's trying to start a war. You could assume the country's probably trying to do the opposite, and so forth. You see, it's much easier that way. You're right about politics. There's a civil way of discussing it. There is a civil way, but you got to deal with civil people. And a lot of people lack the civility. But I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to engage in ad hominem attacks. And I told somebody at a baseball game last weekend, I said, see, you're a perfect example of what's wrong with the world. I told him to his face. He didn't get angry. He said something very nasty about Nancy Pelosi. Like, well, I told him, I said, one time she walked right past me in the Capitol building. I was in the Capitol building and she walked past me. And the tour guide said, that's the Speaker of the House. Well, I knew that already, of course. I didn't care. She walked past me. I mean, people are walking everywhere. And he said, why didn't you slap her? I'll start getting aggravated when he told me that. I said, you know what? You're the perfect example of what's wrong with America. I told him that to his face. I said, because you can't address political issues in a sensible manner. I said, you're only capable or able to handle things in a hateful manner. Oh, he said, what do you mean? And I tried to explain to him, left wing, right wing. I said, you're both part of the same illness, mental sickness. And I don't guess he caught on, but maybe it had some kind of impact. I doubt it. But why you told it? Yeah, I told him that. I always tell people directly what I'm thinking. Why didn't you slap? Yeah, he's an animal, but I deal with animals all day long on internet, whatever. And many of them are crazy, crazy. They're crazy. Left wing, right wing, like I told you, middle wing, they're crazy. One guy sent me a message the other day. He says, it's communistic to invite anybody to your hangouts. No, what did he say? If you allow anybody to, that's what he said. If you allow anybody to join your hangouts, that's communism. I said, no, communism would be requiring everyone to join my hangouts. So he blocked me and quit all my groups. I said, that sounds like an expected behavior. And it's actually, I appreciate that behavior because I don't want to interact with people who are out of their minds, not to say I wouldn't interact with them, but I don't really want to entertain madness. I'm like, say, okay, I'm trying to be the eye in the hurricane. I'm trying to be the eye of your hurricane, so to speak. So, tribalism. Yeah, tribalism, madness, insanity. And you say, well, the mass media encourages that. I agree with that. It encourages it. But it still doesn't make it right. Well, how do, Ronaru, says Beer Hound. Well, I'm about to get off of this, actually. Some people lack the mental capacity to think beyond you versus me mentality, says North Life Hollywood. I think that's true. You can't make a person smarter, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a basket of apples. There's only so many apples in the basket, and you can't add apples to their basket. You know what I'm saying? They're a human, and you just got to work with what you got. And a lot of times there ain't much there to work with. And I talk to people at work about this, and they're always talking politics at work, you know. And I'm just smiling to myself like, I don't say too much anymore. And I'll just shake my head to myself thinking, they don't know what they're talking about. Like literally don't know what they're talking about. I'll give you one example real fast. This guy on Facebook, not a scholarly person, but a good guy, They make great gumbo. These two guys make great crawfish bisque and gumbo, and they're good at hunting. They know a lot about trucks and transmissions and well, you know what I mean, how to make sauces, smoked meat, and that kind of stuff. So it's very nice, very nice. But and I grew up with them here along the Mississippi River. But he decided to put a post today about hunting rifles. But the hunting rifle post was about Japan attacking the United States in 1941. And he was saying, people always said if the Japanese had landed their army on the California coast in 1941, they could have advanced to the Mississippi River. I'm just reading this with wide-eyed, you know. But all the Americans with the hunting rifles would have stopped them. You know, that same old thing, that trope, you know, what we call it, a trope, that you've been hearing about since 1942, would have stopped them. Yeah, the Americans with guns would have stopped. I'm like, this is insane, you know. So I made my comment. I said, look, I know they're not going to take it the right way. I'm enjoying revision hops in a can 5-star. Well, I'd like to try that. So I said, not this again. I've been hearing about this since I was 3. This is 2021, not 1971. I said, look, let's get something straight, okay? I said, there's no way Japan had the logistical capacity or ability to land their army on the California coast in December 1941. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? That could not have happened. But let's just say, for the sake of meaningless arguments, that they could have done it, which they would not have been able to do. Not only would they have not advanced to the Mississippi River, you got to have, you're imagining that the whole Japanese army is going to go across the United States, right? They're going to go down Interstate Highway 90 or US Highway 90 back then. You know, they're just going to go along, you know, toward the Mississippi River. I said, forget the hunting rifles and the people with the guns and all the Americans stopping them. You're not understanding the historical context, okay? I said, this country, talking about Japan, began to fold up 6 months later after the attack, or 7 months, June. I said, do you understand what you're talking about? They began to collapse in June 1942. And they continued to collapse for 3 straight years. It wasn't like, well, they collapsed and they fought back and then they collapsed and they fought back. No, they began to collapse and they completely collapsed. And the only reason they didn't collapse immediately was because the United States and Great Britain were concentrating on a bigger enemy, what they considered a greater threat in Europe. I said, so, but you can't, it's like trying to break through a wall. I said, it's like that same old Germany invade America story. I said, how would Germany invade America in 1940, whatever, but yet they can't get across a 28-mile channel, the English Channel? Not only could they not get across it, they never even bothered trying to get across it. because they knew that that was an impossibility. So these kind of fantasy historical things, I just can't get over. So that goes back to the whole trying to deal with people that have these totally unreasonable concepts. You know, it's just beyond belief. It's literally beyond belief. All right, I agree, Ron, 100%, very true. All right, so summing it up, Tijuana silver tequila, it's well worth buying. It's not the best looking label, you know, it looks like some commodity product, you know, but it's okay. It's all right. It's actually literally kind of good, you know, kind of good. And then the El Toro, which I thought was better. Actually, I couldn't tell them apart. So it tells you right there. Yeah, it's well worth buying, and would make a big thing out of it. It's not going to change your outlook on life, but it's, you know, it's kind of nice. All right, so that's it. It is cheap. Very cheap, but good. These people live in a fantasy world, says FD. It is a fantasy world that is beyond even, I don't know, it's beyond belief, really. Okay, Ron. What? Okay, that's it. Out of here. Thanks.